We have a really special guest with us this evening who's flown from Queensland to join us during the day and tonight. An accomplished lawyer. She was admitted to the Supreme Court of New South Wales in 1993 as a senior associate with one of Sydney's most highly regarded law firms. Within 5 years, she was made a partner at a private practice on Sydney's prestigious North Shore. A tragic accident then rendered her a quadriplegic and threatened to take all of that away. That was until her lovely husband, Rob, who I've met, discovered PEXA. And since then, this woman has turned her life around. She's here to tell her story, so please, a very warm welcome for Carol Taylor.
I'm just here to give you a little snapshot of my personal journey, my personal PEXA journey, and the difference that PEXA has made to my life, because it certainly has been substantial and life-changing. As Adam mentioned, I had a successful practice in North Shore of Sydney, and in 2001, my husband and I were coming home from a weekender that we'd purchased, beautiful 100-acre property on the other side of the Blue Mountains, and we hit black ice, and on the second roll of the car, the roof came down, hit me on the back of the neck, and instantly severed my spinal cord. And when it did, I was rendered a quadriplegic, and I never really understood what it meant to be a quadriplegic, but I was paralysed from the neck down. I was in the car like this, and I looked down, and I knew instantly that I'd never walk again. But the thing that was foremost in my mind was the fact that I was a newlywed, and we'd been trying to have a baby, and we weren't able to. We had something called unexplained infertility, and all I could think about was, okay, I'm never going to walk again, but will we be able to have a child? It's funny, the things that just focus, I was just so focused on that. Rob's out on the road, flagging down a truck. There's a helicopter landing in the middle of the freeway, and I'm being airlifted to a hospital where I'll spend the next year. And that was my focus, was will I be able to have a child? My practice had been a strong emphasis on litigation and immigration law. And I wasn't thinking about that, I was just thinking about Rob and how I was going to move forward. Anyway, I spent a year in hospital, and during that time they came to me and they told me that I would never be able to have a child because of the level of my injury and the complications that come with being a quadriplegic. And I thought, this is the moment for me to set my best friend free, and I asked my husband for a divorce. It was our 3rd wedding anniversary, the day that they put me into a wheelchair for the first time, and he wheeled me downstairs into Prince of Wales Hospital, took me into the cafe and out to the courtyard, and all of a sudden the beautiful Irish music, I'm Irish if you hadn't guessed, from our wedding day started to play, and there was a priest and an altar and my mum and dad and my wonderful husband on bended knee, which he didn't do the first time. So you got it, girls, you got to get him to do it twice, to get him on their knees. And he proposed and we renewed our wedding vows. I haven't asked for a divorce since. As long as he's still on probation, mind you, keeping an idea. I'm at the point now, we'll be 20 years married this year, and I think it's taken this long to train him out of dress this time. I think I'll keep him. So what followed was 8 years of determination, IVF, 15 embryo transfers, miscarriage after miscarriage. The first 4 years were the hardest. I still have my moments with depression, but the first 4 years were indescribable, and I couldn't have got through them without Robert. I left my practice behind. Everything I'd worked so hard for, it was all gone. And I left Sydney and I moved to Queensland to be near family. 8 years, as I said, had passed and nothing was doing. There must be something in the water in Queensland, because we got our boy the old-fashioned way. And it took 5 months in bed and 3 obstetricians to bring him into the world. And I nearly died having him. I had to have an epidural to control my heart because of the complications of quadriplegia. and I got a healthy dose of the golden staph, which was travelling to my brain, and I was oblivious to what was going on. But it was all worth it. We got our son, our beautiful Darcy, and roll by 14 years. I enjoyed every moment of motherhood. I was a jungle gym for our son, captive audience for every game and for every story. But as he became older and more independent, when he was about 8 years old, I started to really miss my sense of professional identity. Everything that I'd worked so hard for, and it was a struggle. I was really torn, and I thought, what am I going to do? And Rob said to me, well, if you really miss it that much, go back to work, go back to law. I thought, no lawyer is going to employ me. First of all, I've run my own firm, and I'd find it very hard to be an employed solicitor. And I really thought that the only job I could get was one as a doorstop. I thought that's all I was capable of. After such a long gap between practicing, I didn't think it would be possible. And then Rob came to me one day, he's full of great ideas, my Rob, with this wonderful technology he'd heard about, electronic conveyancing by PEXA. And I didn't know a whole lot about conveyancing. My prior practice we did do conveyancing in New South Wales, but I knew nothing about Queensland conveyancing. And this idea just gave it time to ferment and work on, and I thought, well, I'm going to give this a go. And I had to sit the exams again because I hadn't practiced for so long, and the QLS did not make it easy, but I got through it, including a 5-hour oral trust account exam. And then once I got my practicing certificate in Queensland, I then had to learn this new technology. So my prior practice, Marcus was talking earlier about change and adapting. My prior practice, I dictated everything into a little tape. I had a secretary that typed it all up for me and made it happen. So now I had this practicing certificate, and now I had to learn all this new technology. Well, it was just the best thing that could have happened, because it opened up so many opportunities for me that I didn't think were possible. I started my practice in 2015, and within a year, my firm, Taylor Law and Conveyancing, was the first in the state to complete the very first simultaneous online settlement between two properties that were 1,200 kilometres apart, and all because of this amazing technology. So I can't thank PEXA enough for making all this possible for me. What I've learnt through all of this is that I don't fear adversity. I face challenges every day, so many challenges you would not believe, and I'm not going to go into them in detail, but needless to say, I face an enormous amount of challenge before most of you have even had your morning coffee. But what I've discovered is that adversity is a wonderful thing if you look at it the right way. Adversity has given me the gift of resilience, and resilience has opened so many doors for me. The second thing I've learned is that people adapt, and facing challenge, particularly in this digital space, has put me at the forefront of my profession in Queensland. And the third thing I would say is that passion is so important, and I am extremely passionate. Anyone that knows me knows I'm passionate about inclusivity and making society, particularly for those that are disabled, to be more inclusive. But I'm also passionate about PEXA, and I am determined to drag as many of those Queensland lawyers that are hanging on to their pink legal tape like it was an umbilical cord. I'm determined to get them away from their dusty buff folders and files and drag them kicking and screaming, if I have to, into the 21st century. So change is good, and people need to learn to adapt. And I thank PEXA for opening all these doors for me and for putting me on a journey that I never thought was possible. Thank you very much.